Good evening, ladies and gents. Back with another Conquerors Blade video. This time around, I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on each and every single hero weapon, what it's used for, and kind of just give you a few hints and tips on how to play it, if I know those hints and tips. I'm not very good at all of the weapons, but I will give you the lowdown on all of them. Anyway, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Most of the audience that are watching me are not subscribed. If you are one of them, please do so. It really does help me out. Hit that like button, share this video around, all that lovely fan doobie-tastic stuff, and we will get straight into this. So I am currently just in the weapon kind of training yard here, and I'm going to cut in between some footage of me trying all the weapons, but I just wanted to come over to this kind of platform here because I can select all the weapons, plus it actually gives you a bit of a lowdown on the difficulty, the damage, the mobility, the defense, the power, and the reach. I am going to actually take the time to explain what each of the weapons are kind of for though. So we're going to start off with the short sword and shield, probably the best tanking kind of hero class in the game. Very useful in territory war, very useful in regular sieges, can take a lot of damage, can take a lot of kind of just absolute mulling from people. These are your frontline tanks. They are very good. They can break open kind of units of Fort Braccio and shields with their ultimates, and then obviously everything else come in up behind them and actually do the damage. This is not a damage dealing class. Please do not play it as a damage dealing class. This is all about tanking the damage so the rest of your team can actually get in there and do the damage. Moving on to the Glaive. The Glaive is a heavy armor class, however I play it as a glass cannon kind of medium armor build, and I know a lot of other people do as well, but it is a very versatile class. It is not a tanking class. If you want to play a tank class, then either play short sword or long sword. Glaive, even though it can use heavy armor, is not a tank class because it has no tank abilities. It is very good at hero killing, it is very good at unit killing, it is not very good at both. You need to kind of decide which path you want to go down with the Glaive. It is also partly supportive as well. It's very useful in territory wars, having a couple of these hero classes in your battle, because they can actually buff the damage of themselves and heroes around them, plus units around them by 15%, which is a huge damage dealing buff, and it lasts for about 10 seconds, and it can give you the edge, especially in territory wars. Moving on to the longsword and shield. This is a tank class, but it is also probably the most supportive of classes as well in the game. This guy or girl can actually heal and speed up, and it's got very good support skills. It is very useful on the front lines. I believe it can take as much kind of damage as the short sword, but I believe it's actually like short swords you want a lot more of than the long swords, because the short swords can break open formations and things like that. Long swords very good for heals, very good for speed and stuff like that, but after that kind of lacks a little bit. Long swords are a right nightmare to kill though, because of those buffs and things that they do have. Still want a few of these in your team. Territory war and sieges, very good useful class. Poleaxe, it is a very good CC class. It can lock down the heroes, and it is very damage heavy as well. It is a heavy armor class. It can do a lot of damage. It has a lot of stun and CC abilities. It is very useful. You don't want to have lots of these because, again, there are better classes that do a lot more damage, but having a few of these in your team is really going to help, especially people that know how to play this properly and lock people down. It is a very useful weapon class indeed. Going into the spear, unfortunately, the spear is the probably the least loved thing at the moment. It is a real shame because I really enjoyed playing the spear back in the day. As medium armor class, can do a lot of damage as well, but in comparison to everything else at the minute, it is just not viable, unfortunately. I would say steer clear of this one for the time being until they have a look at it and properly fix it and buff it back up so it's kind of in line with the meta. Very useful on the horse. It can actually do a lot of damage on the horse, kind of lancing. Other than that though, you're not really going to be having a nice time on the spear as you would compared to some of the other weapon classes. Moving down to Nadachi. Nadachi is one of those weapon classes that's so good in blue meta. It is still fairly decent in purple meta, but it really suffers in gold. So Nadachi is definitely by far one of the best unit killing classes in the game. It has a lot of life steal and things like that. Very good unit killing, if not the best unit killing class in the game. But because units take a lot more beating, they have a lot more health, they have a lot more armor in the gold tier meta when that actually comes back into the season in the next few days, they suffer badly. They do not do well in territory wars, sieges, they suffer a little bit as well. Have a go with it, but I wouldn't suggest playing this as your first class. I would say stick to one of the tank classes, the Glaive, or one of the others that I'm going to be going into in a minute. You're going to have a far better time playing something else than you would the Nadachi. Moving on to the Musket. The Musket is a very good, very useful class, and if the field of view was better, hint devs, if the field of view was better, I would probably main Musket. Unfortunately, the field of view does zoom in on all the range classes, Musket included, and because of the narrower field of vision, it actually makes me feel very sick after a little while. But Muskets are very useful because they have things like the bomb ability, which can again break open formations. They do a lot of damage. Very useful class to have when you have one up on the wall, dropping cow drops, dropping bombs, things like that, especially in territory wars. Really good kind of useful class to slow down cavalry, to do a bit of damage to stuff trying to climb up walls and things like that. Really good. If you can get on with the field of view, I say give it a go. If you can't, like me, then probably stay away from it, stick with the melee class. Hopefully they will fix the field of view thing in a couple of patches time, because I know there's a few other people that have been voicing it. Please just fix the field of view. I just want it to be zoomed out like the melee classes, and I probably would main the Musket. Longbow unfortunately is not a weapon class to be playing in its current meta. It is not that great. It hasn't been great for a very long time. It suffers badly compared to all other kind of classes, and because it is a light armor class as well, you are going to die very quickly. It does not do a lot of damage, unfortunately. I believe the short bow is a little bit better in the current meta, so if you want to really play a ranged class, I would say short bow, which we will look at in a minute. Right now, steer clear of the longbow. It's not that great. I know they have been putting out a lot of buffs recently for it, but they just don't seem to be enough, unfortunately. Hopefully, again, they will bring this back up into line with everything else, but right now, steer clear of it, especially as your kind of first or second weapon. I would say there are a lot better things to kind of focus on for the time being. Shortbow is the one to play if you want to play a range class. Again, the damage in comparison to some of the other weapon classes is not great, but probably the best out of the longbow and the shortbow is definitely the shortbow. There are a few guides and stuff around. I know a fellow content creator called Plumsian plays a lot of shortbow, and he gets on really well with it. Range classes are notoriously difficult in this game, but they are very useful. Having one or two tops in a territory war is also very useful. Usually that is kind of designated to muskets, but I have seen a few people play bows in territory war, and those that are really good with them can actually turn the tide of battle fairly well, because they can take out things like culverins and cannons from a distance. Other than that, if you're looking for a pure damage dealing class, I would say stick with the musket if you're looking for a ranged though. So the dual blades are the last of this list, however there's a couple more to cover after this. So the dual blades are a very good stealthy class. This is your rogue type class that do a lot of damage. They have a CC ability, and they can pick up a lot of hero kills if played properly as well. The idea with these is to actually get behind enemy heroes and pick off the ones that have kind of left the bulk of the group. Take those out that have kind of gone a little bit Rambo, and you will pick up a lot of kills very quickly with dual blade once you learn them. Again, light armor, so you do suffer badly. You are not a frontline kind of hero, but again, if you're playing this properly, you will pick up a lot of kills very quickly. So then, for the last 3 weapons, these are actually seasonal weapons that you have to unlock through the season challenges. Season 3 for the maul, Season 8 for the pike, and I believe it was around Season 13 or 14 for the chain dart and scimitar. So, starting off with the maul, this is probably the widely hated class in the entire game. It is a very useful class, however. It can pick up people, it does a lot of blunt damage, it can be a tank hero as well. This is definitely one to pick up first out of the season challenges. It is very, very useful, not only in sieges but in territory wars as well. You are probably going to be one of the hated people on your team, but you are going to be one of the needed people on the team as well. The maul is very, very good at breaking open units and killing heroes. It is quite a versatile class. I would say just definitely this is one of the first ones you want to be aiming for. Season 8 was the pike. This is just a damage dealing medium armor class. It is very, very difficult to play. There is a very steep learning curve with the pike, and there is only a certain amount of skills and stuff that you can get with it, much like the maul. It does take you a very long time to learn how to play the pike properly. However, once you do, it is very, very damaging. It can push out a lot of damage very, very quickly, and it is often utilized as really only a hero killer rather than a unit killer. It does have a couple of kind of unit killing abilities, but it more focuses on actually killing heroes rather than units. However, I would still say stick to the maul before you pick up the pike, and actually I would probably say stick to picking up the maul first and then the next weapon, the chain dart and scimitar, and then leave pike as the last one to pick up. This is going to bring us very quickly onto the chain dart and scimitar. This is the latest weapon to come into the game, and this is very similar to dual blades. This is a weapon class that is wearing a light armor. You can be very easily picked off because of that fact, but you are not meant to be on the front line fighting with your troops. You are meant to be picking off heroes that have kind of left the main bulk of the enemy team, and picking up anyone that has gone Rambo. Again, much like the dual blades, you want to be picking off those heroes and thinning out the crowd for your frontline fighters, heroes, units going into the fray of things, just to make things a little bit easier for them. I would say pick this one up after you pick the maul up. The maul up is going to be a lot more useful to you with it than this one. This one again also has a fairly steep learning curve, mainly because of the fact that you are in light armor, so you are a little bit squishier. I'm going to leave this list here though. I hope this has helped any of you out there. Hopefully this will help you if you are brand new to the game. Hopefully this will help you if you've been playing the game for a little while and weren't too sure what each of the weapon classes was actually for. Let me know down in the comments if that has helped you. Please hit that like button, hit that sub button, all that lovely fan doobie-tastic stuff, and I hope to catch you out on the battlefield.